Today we're going to look at creating a digital studio and then just really push what we can do with that digital studio. A lot of commercial adverts in magazines, online, and pack shots on the TV might look like they're in a studio, but very often this is a scenario. So in this video, I just want to show you around and show you kind of what is possible, and only a tiny amount of what's possible, and then they'll look at the series of videos to follow for some of the individual techniques. So first of all, I did finish this off. If you go back to the branding section, you'll see there's a video to show you how to add some extra highlights. I've also worked on creating some nice little drips as well to give a sort of refreshing feeling. And I did these in Photoshop, and that's in a separate video. Once we've got a finished product, we want to take it into our studio to effectively light. I've simply copied and pasted this from Illustrator, and I've pasted it as pixels. Then I've created the studio scenario you see behind. That's in a separate video too. And what I have done is I've used layer comps in order to record the changes that I'm making as I go along. If you remember in term 1 we looked at layer comps. I'd like you to try and use layer comps once again. Layer comps will help you record variations that you make on a theme, in this case adding hue saturation. And in the end, once you have a number of those, you can export those to separate files, and or you can make up a PDF of them. So it really helps in the collection of your evidence. And one of the main things this project should make you do is to try alternative versions. Just try things out and experiment. So the possibilities, once you've got your studio set up, are of course to add colour. In this case, adjustment layers. Lots of possibilities. I've gone back to adjustment layers and just worked on the curves in order to create a very vivid picture, and then gone back to changing adjustment layers again, this time behind the can alone. And then I've thought about bringing in objects, scanned objects, drawn objects, or borrowed objects. Remember, if you borrow, you need to say that you have borrowed an object, but I do realise it's not possible to create everything. Adding shadows, controlling shadows outside of the norm in Photoshop, and then adding additional focus. So taking the final piece of work and really sort of looking at how you can refocus that light. Maybe even adding in textured backgrounds using the actions and masking off areas that you don't need. So I'm going to take you through all of that. Just going to move on to this one here. Again, this is using a set of adjustments, but those adjustments are a particular flavor of adjustment. They're actually called, these adjustments are called color lookup. So color lookup are combinations of adjustments put together, and you can get some really beautiful effects with those. And of course you can combine them with your own shifts in colour and what have you. So there's all sorts of possibilities that you can create through that route. Then of course nothing to stop you adding in photography again. So this is a spider web using the blend, the layer blending tools up here to combine layers. So I'm combining the background with this photographic image. and the same way I used the actions, I also blended the results of the actions so that I could give myself some texture. And then finally, you need to think about pulling the poster together. Remember, this is for an advertising campaign. So you need to think about what it is you want to say about your can and how you are going to say it. So you might need to think about some original drawing that's going to go into it, or original photography, and then think about how you're going to use typography and how you're going to communicate your message. So chicken and egg, I want you to explore these techniques. So maybe use the can that you produced, or find a can online and have a bit of fun with it, and then explore all the possibilities, try out the techniques, and then think about how you really want to advertise your product. Of course, you don't have to do the studio setup, but I want you to try it out as an exercise. And if you want to come up with a completely different type of campaign, that's fine as well.